Roll for Crit here, and it seems CMON is not yet done with PlayStation announcements. We are now getting our first look at the Bloodborne board game. We talked a little bit about the card game in our God of War video, but now the board game, which we sort of knew about, but this is the first time we've actually seen the minis and the board and how the game's actually going to work.
That's right. They revealed a 2-minute long trailer for the game, along with a couple short videos talking about some of the details, some of the gameplay mechanics. Not too in-depth, but something. And they also announced that the game is going to be coming to Kickstarter April 23rd, which is very, very soon. So it won't be long before we find out, hopefully, exactly how the game plays. It's from designers Eric Lang and Michael Shinall. Eric Lang, who did the Bloodborne card game, and Michael Shinall, who is also a design and development manager at CMON, has worked on plenty of other CMON games, so big CMON named people that they're giving this to. Based on the video game, if you're not aware, called Bloodborne also. And in fact, in the trailer, they directly compare the two. There are a lot of shots where they kind of go in and out of video game gameplay back to the tabletop, which I thought was kind of cool. It's kind of a dynamic way of demonstrating how similar these two are, whereas I guess the card game was perhaps more of an abstract take on it. That was a competitive game. This is fully cooperative. There are minis, there are pieces. It seems to me to follow the game more one-to-one. Coming from, I think you played the card game more than I have. What do you think about this compared to that?
I really enjoyed the card game partly because it was a bit more abstract. I think anytime you translate, whether it's a video game to a movie, movie to a video game or movie to a board game, you have to be careful trying to translate it exactly because some things just don't work in the other medium. I have not played the original Bloodborne board game. I should mention that. Video game. Have you?
I have not. I've read about it. I've seen it. I own it, but I have yet to actually play it.
And I do want to say, because I do love the look of the sort of generic hunter. I love that gothic, I guess you'd say. Mm-hmm. But the exploring, I just hope that it's not repetitive and like we said with Dark Souls and some grind. The fact it's a campaign probably helps a little bit more, and the fact that dying doesn't seem too like dying hurts a little bit, but you still upgrade when it's not like in a game if you die it's game over. So that could probably help the game a lot.
Right. So as you said, it's a campaign, and they kind of give you a hint of what a campaign will look like. It seems like there's a certain types of tiles. Some will be randomized, some will be specific to the mission, the scenario, I should say. And then, like for instance, they show one where the goal seems to be to reach a certain point and interact with a token or a space. And then you get to actually make a choice, in the case of the one they show in the video, between telling a girl the truth or lying to her, and depending on what you say, something different might happen. So that's kind of cool. So I guess the campaign will actually have consequences that carries through from one scenario to another. From what I know about Bloodborne, which isn't a ton, there's this thing called the Hunter's Dream. And that's represented by lanterns, and it looks like that's where maybe you end up when you die, and also you can buy things from there or upgrade certain abilities. They do show a space showing that. So yeah, you'll be back in the fight, but perhaps they said monsters may respawn if you die, so you'll have to worry about that. I wonder if they'll have a mechanic like the thing with Dark Souls where you have to find your stuff that you left behind, and if you fail to do that, if you die again, you lose it forever. They didn't mention that, but that might be more annoying in a board game than it is in a video game. Might be one of those things you were talking about that doesn't translate well.
In the card game, that's also where you went to upgrade. So I assume, and it seems like that's true here too. Mm-hmm. You may even want to go there to respawn monsters, maybe. I don't know if there's like a reward for killing more, so it could be a bit more of a tactical decision too.
Yeah, well, they do show that you receive blood echoes, when you kill one, and it goes right to your hunter dashboard. So I'm sure that maybe that's currency, I'm guessing, or maybe we'll have other uses in the campaign. And that Hunter's dashboard is interesting in itself. It kind of gives you a look at presumably how your attacks will work. It kind of seems like you play cards onto your attacks to make them stronger or give them different abilities as you use them.
Well, what it looks like to me is the way this combat works for you is you have a deck of cards that you will draw, like, I think 4 from. So it's sort of deck building, it looked like. I may be wrong there. They didn't really explain too much. And you will play them in 3 slots, maybe try to get a combo off. And maybe if you play 3, you're more likely to get interrupted and lose them. But if you only play 1 at the end, maybe you're less likely. And when you look at your enemies, they have 2 different attacks. Like they have a regular and a special. And you might know, like, oh, he only does a special once every 5 cards or something. Right. So they try to have that attack pattern memorization. That one of the things we did love about the Dark Souls game that I think they did right.
Yeah, and it seems like that's not just for bosses, that even more generic kind of mob enemies have that same kind of potential attack pattern, which hopefully would make each of those encounters equally as interesting. You can also see that you can equip different weapons that will change your overall attack pattern. And I think that idea you're talking about of like trying to pull off combos is cool and an interesting way of mimicking the way in a game you would try to do like A, X, B or something like that to, like, you know, you do like the light attack, the heavy attack, the light attack, or whatever it is.
I mean, any of these, I feel like boss rush kind of games, you got to have that. I feel like that shows the skill when you can pull off the crazy combos.
Yeah. I'm wondering how in-depth they're going to go on that story component, because the mission sounds interesting. You know, they give you a little bit of flavor there. I hope that they definitely include a lot of that lore that comes from Bloodborne.
Well, yeah, I think that any of these games, for me, I don't know about other people, I'm always much more interested in the lore than, you know, doing well in the combos. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I haven't really bought these games, because there is great lore, but like it seems like such a focus of them is get good.
It's about the mechanics. It's people love them for learning the patterns and becoming more, improving, honing their skills the more that they play.
And I am curious because I know a large portion of this crowd is also part of the PC crowd, and you know how one of their
personal computer, not politically correct.
Yes, personal computer, and their one of their mantras is never pre-order, which is exactly what Kickstarter is.
Okay.
So I wonder how this will do with like people who aren't as big into board games and used to Kickstarter, especially when they see something that's a Kickstarter exclusive, which you know there will be.
My guess is this is going to be hugely successful, and I mean, I just don't. I see a CMON game with minis based on a popular video game property, and there's no doubt in my mind that this is going to be a runaway success. But I'm maybe there will be a few holdouts, but I doubt that they will really affect the overall outcome of the campaign. That's just my guess. We can see also those minis. There's lots of them, and some of them are quite large. So if I had to guess, this game has got to be at least in the $80 tier for the Kickstarter. Maybe it's up to as much as $100, $120 for all the goals and things. That's just a guess. But
easily $100. I think on the lower end, like to get everything. I bet, like, thinking about all the other games they've done with minis, I think this could hit past 200, maybe even 3, depending on how crazy they go.
Well, yeah, if they have, I would say the only way it goes 200 or above is if you're throwing in expansions.
Yeah, I think. Which I think is completely possible because, there's a lot of crazy stuff in Bloodborne, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff, and we really have just seen this little snippet, although it's a lot meatier than the God of War trailer that we got the other day.
Well, we also actually got some other videos too.
Right, so there's a lot to dig into. You can go to CMON's channel and watch and get a little bit more detail. And like I said, April 23rd, the Kickstarter campaign is very, very close. So hopefully they have a full rule book at launch. We'll actually get to see exactly how it plays. Because I think it looks interesting. I will say the tiles are a little bit, the ones that they show in this first mission, I mean, that's the aesthetic of Bloodborne, I think, but they are a little bit samey. It doesn't have anything too exciting, but I think the minis, the enemies are really cool looking. And if you had the right group, it could be something that's really fun.
I will say 2 official licensed products for PlayStation in 1 week. I think we're actually hinting the PS5 is just going to be a shelf to store your PlayStation board games.
I think that sounds great. They're taking the 8-bit box model. That's going to be the new Sony console going forward.
Yep. They're going really into virtual reality. You can feel it.
Let us know in the comments if you're excited for the Bloodborne board game, or maybe the campaign's already been up after you've watched this, what you think, if you're going to back it. If it's too pricey for you, if you love minis, if you hate minis, if you're just happy with the Bloodborne card game. You can talk to us right there in the comments or find us elsewhere. Links in the description below.
But until then, we'll be in the Hunter's Dream. I'm Will.
I'm Jonathan.
And this has been Roll for Crit.
Make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons so you get more board game content from Roll for Crit.
Do it. Do it now.